Being a manga author is not for the faint of heart. Yoshihiro Togashi, the creator of Hunter x Hunter, has revealed that his back pain is so severe that he is unable to even wipe his own ass. For 2 weeks before writing his 2022 Hunter x Hunter art exhibition statement, he had to shower after every bowel movement because his back pain had made it impossible for him to wipe himself after taking a dump. Meanwhile, you have Ichiro Oda, who tells his editors die for One Piece. This isn't as a motivational statement, but as a literal expectation. Then you have Tite Kubo, who discovers through a MRI test towards the end of Bleach's serialization that after years of drawing manga, he had actually tore one of his tendons in his shoulder and he didn't even know about it. Masashi Kishimoto, the creator of Naruto, revealed that he had sweated so profusely from anxiety while he was creating the series that he could literally wring out his shirt like a wet towel. These dystopian horror stories describe the toll that it takes for somebody to become a successful manga artist. Behind every chapter and manga panel of series like Dragon Ball and One Piece lies a human being who is slowly destroying themselves for our enjoyment. Weekly Shonen Jump, the most successful manga magazine in history, has actually built its empire on a foundation of systematic creator abuse that would make the conditions of the Amazon warehouse workers who are peeing in bottles look humane. Now, the major question which nobody wants to ask is, what does it really cost to create the stories that we love? The answer is going to definitely shock you, so definitely stick around until the very end of the video so that you know everything that there is to know about how Shonen Jump abuses its manga authors. In 1994, Akira Toriyama's hit gag manga series Dr. Slump had been running for 4 years, and Toriyama was burned out at this point. The comedy manga required him to invent new gags every single week, and he was running on fumes after consistently releasing 1 chapter per week for 4 years. He had begged his editor to let him end Dr. Slump, but he got hit with an ultimatum that would define Jump's toxic culture for decades. His editor at the time, Kazuhiko Torishima, had told him, if you can create a manga that is more interesting than Dr. Slump, then you can quit it. It is through this ultimatum which the Dragon Ball series was created. But it also gave birth to something far more sinister. It was proof that Shonen Jump could extract infinite content from its authors by holding their artistic freedom hostage. Akira Toriyama's documented work schedule during Dragon Ball's peak reads like a medical case study in sleep deprivation. We're talking about sleeping 20 minutes across 6 consecutive days. This isn't 20 minutes per day, this is 20 minutes total during some of the worst weeks of Toriyama's serialization of Dragon Ball. His editor Kazuhiko Torishima later revealed that Toriyama sometimes worked on just 6 to 7 hours of sleep per week. There was one time when he was submitting manga manuscripts and he had to drive to the post office himself, and he was unable to distinguish traffic light colors because Toriyama had been working so hard on his manga that his brain was fried. It's pretty crazy how Toriyama's editor Torishima now laughs about all of this in interviews that he does, and in a 2018 retrospective, he casually mentioned forcing Toriyama to complete 2 chapters of manga in 1 week, joking about how the creator complained about inflamed tendons in his hands during the time. When Toriyama said that he could barely move his hands, Torishima made him write his name as a test, then declared if you can write your name then you can draw manga. This is pretty insane, with Toriyama suffering tendinitis and his editor having no sympathy with his medical condition. He was literally forcing him to draw manga while he was in pain. This abusive editor and author relationship did end up becoming a template for future Weekly Shonen Jump authors. Medical conditions weren't treated as warning signs for authors to slow down, they were instead treated as challenges for them to overcome. Decades later, when Toriyama attempted to return to his old schedule in the early 2010s, when he released his 11-chapter Jacko the Galactic Patrolman series, the 58-year-old's body couldn't handle the strain of manga serialization. He straight up said that releasing those few chapters of Jacko had actually wrecked his body, and he stated that this was going to be his final serialized manga. Toriyama's astronomical success had convinced Jump that this level of exploitation wasn't just acceptable, it was necessary for successes like Dragon Ball to be birthed. They had their proof of concept, and it was written in sleep deprivation. If Toriyama was the blueprint, then Yoshihiro Togashi ended up becoming its most devastating victim. His story isn't just about about creator abuse, it's about watching a genius slowly cannibalize himself. Togashi exploded onto the manga scene with Yu Yu Hakusho in the 1990s as he delivered one of Jump's most beloved supernatural action series, which subverted a lot of readers' expectations. But even then, cracks were showing, as his author comments from the final years of Yu Yu Hakusho serialization reveal an artist was already battling stress-induced chest pain and irregular sleep patterns. Togashi at the time was only 28 years old and he was already breaking down. Togashi's next work, Hunter x Hunter, was serialized in 1998 and it immediately showed off Togashi's evolution as a storyteller. The York New City arc and the Chimera Untark are regarded as some of the greatest story arcs within all of shonen anime and manga. But Togashi's perfectionism with his storytelling and his drawing ability combined with the weekly deadlines had put so much pressure on him that Hunter x Hunter had started to suffer from its iconic hiatuses, which had started in 2006. And fans did initially joke about Togashi being lazy or he was too busy playing the latest Dragon Quest, but the reality of the situation was far more brutal than what most would have expected. Togashi's author comments within the pages of Weekly Shonen Jump and the volumes of Hunter x Hunter revealed a terrifying medical condition that he was suffering from. Togashi states, "I can't move my body for even 1 centimeter when the pain hits level 10. I had to crawl on all fours to move around." The pain that Togashi is referring to stems from his back after he had been hunched over a desk drawing manga for years. Then in 2022, we had further statements from Togashi, and these were some of the most honest confessions of the abuse that he had suffered. In 2022, we had some new statements from Togashi which revealed the extent of his medical condition. He revealed that he hadn't even been able to sit in a chair for 2 years. The man who had created some of manga's most intricate battle systems and some of the most amazing shonen story arcs was unable to even perform basic bodily functions without severe agony. He drew a self-portrait of himself drawing while laying flat on his back with a pillow propped under his head like he was reading a bedtime story. This is Togashi revealing that this is the only comfortable position that he is able to draw manga in. Then came Togashi's infamous bathroom confession, which hit the hardest, as he reveals that up until 2 weeks before writing this message, I couldn't get into position to wipe my own butt, and he had to take a shower every time that he pooped, and it took him 3 to 5 times longer for him to do everyday movements because of his back pain. Togashi represents the ultimate cost of a creator who has reached the peak of his medium, but in the process has lost his physical ability to create. The saddest part about Togashi's story is that he is still trying to finish Hunter x Hunter, desperately trying to find a comfortable position so that he can continue drawing because he refuses to let his story remain incomplete and he has too much pride to let another author draw his series while he does the story for it. Then you have Masashi Kishimoto, the creator of Naruto, who exposed the psychological hell that is hiding behind some of the biggest successes of Shonen Jump. His 2015 interview with the creator of My Hero Academia, Kohei Horikoshi, didn't just reveal Naruto's creation process, it pulled back the curtain on the mental health crisis which is plaguing some mangaka. Kishimoto confessed that he had sweated so much because of the anxiety of drawing Naruto weekly. He states, I was nervously sweating so much while working, I could squeeze my shirt and sweat would come out. And the crazier thing is that Kishimoto even considered self-harm just to get a break from drawing manga. He revealed that he once contemplated kicking a bookshelf in order to injure his foot, hoping that the injury would give him some time off. He was quick to add, but I didn't want to hurt my hand, because damaging his drawing hand would end his career entirely. This is a manga creator who is earning millions from one of the most beloved series in manga history, yet he's fantasizing about breaking his own bones just to get a break from work. Kishimoto's interview with Horikoshi also revealed that this wasn't just unique to him. He casually mentioned that he and Oda had discussed how mangaka are always in a bad mental state, always on the edge, feeling scared of the pressure to make something popular. Kishimoto also revealed that his work was so intense that sometimes he worked until 1 AM, 3 AM, and even until dawn, as he was chasing deadlines that reset every 7 days, and this was a merciless schedule that he had to follow. He states, you'd be working on a draft and it'd be 1 AM, and then you'd work a little more and suddenly it'd be 3 AM. Time ended up becoming meaningless to these mangaka who were working to maintain Jump's publishing schedule. It's also been revealed that after 15 years of working on Naruto, Kishimoto was finally able to go on his honeymoon, which he had delayed for all of that time because he was working on the series. Then we turn our attention towards the creator of Bleach, Tite Kubo, who had also fallen victim to Jump's insane weekly schedule. Bleach started strong in 2001 and it stood out thanks to Kubo's unique artistic style and his method of storytelling. But after 15 years of weekly chapter deadlines, it took its toll on Kubo's body. In a 2017 interview, he revealed the damage that had taken place. He states that he has a habit of leaning his body weight on his left shoulder whilst drawing, and it seems that he had torn a ligament in his shoulder because of all of the load that he was putting on his shoulder while drawing. He only found out about this torn shoulder tendon when his shoulder pain persisted months after Bleach had ended. He went for an MRI, which revealed the truth that his shoulder tendons were severed. They weren't strained, not inflamed, they actually severed because of the pressure of drawing. Years of maintaining the same drawing position had literally torn Kubo's body apart, and the timing of this discovery is crucial. Kubo felt awfully severe pain the day after submitting Bleach's final chapter. His body had been running on adrenaline and deadline pressure for so long that only when the series ended did he realize how badly damaged he was. It was like a soldier who doesn't notice a wound until the battle ends. Kubo's declining health had directly contributed to the rushed ending of Bleach. Whatever we got in the manga form was absolutely everything that Kubo was able to deliver to the best of his ability, with his health failing at the time. Fans often blamed the editorial interference of Weekly Shonen Jump for the rushed Thousand-Year Blood War arc, but the truth is that Kubo's body was falling apart. He couldn't maintain the intricate art style and complex plotting that made early Bleach special because drawing had become physically excruciating for him. In a separate interview, he revealed the psychological isolation of ending a long-running series. He states he thought that he could finally take a break, but something was wrong. As Kubo felt like after ending Bleach, something was different and it didn't feel right for him. He spent about a year of feeling this way without knowing the cause until he realized that he was lonely. After spending 15 years thinking about Bleach characters constantly, their absence left a void that success couldn't fill. Kubo organized his entire adult life around these fictional characters, and when Bleach ended, he didn't know how to exist without them. Kubo is proof that human bodies weren't designed to produce professional quality art every 7 days for almost 2 decades without a break. Ichiro Oda represents the modern-day ultimate success story of Shonen Jump, and it's really horrifying some of the things that he has had to endure during the serialization of One Piece. For 27 years, he's maintained One Piece's weekly schedule with almost inhumane consistency, and it's only in recent years that he has started to slow down and take some breaks. Oda has a level of professional dedication that is unrivaled even by some of his contemporaries. Oda's documented weekly schedule reads like a hostage situation. He has had 3 hours of sleep per night, and this is every night for decades. His workday runs from 5 AM to 2 AM the next morning. That's 21 hours of work followed by 3 hours of unconsciousness. He has no weekends off, no holidays, no breaks that aren't medically mandated. His editor Naoki Kawashima revealed their philosophy driving this insanity. When Kawashima took over as One Piece's editor, Oda told him directly, "Die for One Piece." This was Oda's expectation of his editor to sacrifice his health, relationships, and his basic human needs for the series. When Kawashima as an editor appeared to be hesitant, Oda sweetened the deal as he said he promised to take care of his family financially if the work killed him. During One Piece's serialization, Oda has had multiple hospitalizations. Like in 2013 when he had an abscess that required 2 weeks of hospitalization, and then his 2014 tonsillectomy after chronic swelling from exhaustion, and during these hospitalizations he continues to draw in the hospital bed. In 2023, Oda took a break for an eye surgery for double vision caused by overwork, and again he was still working even while he was in hospital. He was unable to actually rest even when medical professionals demanded him to. In recent years, fans have noted how Oda's drawings have become noticeably rougher, leading to speculations that he may have nerve damage or tremors in his hand. His other comments have shifted from playful observations to thinly veiled health updates. As in recent years, Oda is now taking regular breaks, as he usually has 1 week off per month, but recently he's been taking 2 to 3 weeks off depending on the situation, as he is helping out with the One Piece live action series too. Fans and industry professionals often praise Oda's work ethic and his dedication to his craft, as they treat his self-destruction as admirable rather than tragic. 27 years of this insane schedule means that Oda has pretty much missed his children's childhood, his wife's daily life, and virtually every normal human experience that we take for granted. He solely exists to produce new One Piece chapters, and the industry treats this as the golden standard rather than a cautionary tale of overwork. You may think that the industry and Weekly Shonen Jump would have learned from these past mistakes that these legendary authors have experienced, but you'd be wrong. Modern creators face identical patterns of abuse, proving that Jump's toxicity isn't in the past, it's an ongoing crisis that is still happening. Problems of Kohei Horikoshi, the creator of My Hero Academia, mirror the issues of some of these legendary manga authors. He revealed that his shoulders hurt so much that if they were gonna hurt this much, then he wishes that he never had shoulders. He published this within volume 39 of My Hero Academia. He was also forced to acknowledge the reality that his hands have gotten slower over the years and his schedule is constantly increasing. Horikoshi's final run of chapters of My Hero Academia had fewer pages because his body could no longer maintain the pace which Jump demands. Instead of reducing the workload, the editorial staff adjust the page count in order to accommodate his physical limitations while maintaining the weekly publication schedule of My Hero Academia. In a 2015 interview with Kishimoto, Horikoshi was revealed hearing that Kishimoto also sweated from anxiety, stating that all mangaka are the same, and that their shared suffering provides them with some comfort. Then you have the author of Jujutsu Kaisen, Gege Akutami, who had repeated hiatuses in 2021, 2022, and 2024, and they follow a familiar pattern. There's initial health issues, then temporary recovery, then escalating breakdown of health. The June 2024 3-week hiatus came with editorial acknowledgement that although Akutami's health has improved, after consulting with the editorial staff, we have decided that he should resume work once he is back in perfect health. Jump was pretty much saying, yeah, we'll let you rest just enough to function, then extract maximum labor from you until you break again. The new generation of manga authors also face additional burdens from social media scrutiny. When Akutami submitted unfinished pages to meet deadlines, fans were criticizing the poor quality rather than recognizing the distress signals of the author. Fans expect modern manga creators to maintain perfect output while their bodies fail them, and all the while they need to endure all of this public criticism from fans who don't understand the limits of the human body, or what it takes to create a successful manga series. Daisuke Ashihara's World Trigger series reveals how manga authors get trapped in cycles of breakdown and attempted recovery. Ashihara has been battling neck and spine issues ever since World Trigger had begun. This led to multiple extended hiatuses which began in 2016. What makes his case interesting is that every time he returns there's hope that he is recovered, but his body eventually breaks down again within months. World Trigger eventually moved from the pages of Weekly Shonen Jump to the monthly Jump SQ magazine in 2018. This theoretically reduced the pressure on the author, but even monthly deadlines proved to be too much, as Ashihara took another hiatus in late 2023, with Jump citing his poor physical condition as the reason. Yuki Tabata's Black Clover situation exposes how creator abuse extends beyond just the individual artist, as it destroys their family lives too. Tabata himself has dealt with health issues. His most recent struggles involve family medical emergencies that coincide with his serialization demands. Jump's insane schedule doesn't pause for human crises. Like when Tabata's family needed him, he faced the impossible choice between being present for his loved ones or meeting the deadlines of Jump. The translation notes around Tabata's author comments reveal the emotional toll that this had taken on him, as he references his mother-in-law descending and what grandmothers are for, as he suggests that family medical emergencies requiring outside care while he remained chained to his drawing desk. There's also the author of The Grey Man, Katsura Hoshino. Her manga has had several hiatuses due to illness and injuries, primarily a wrist injury, as well as carpal tunnel and autoimmune disorders. The Grey Man also moved from a weekly schedule to Jump SQ's monthly serialization. The series was published monthly from November 2009 to January of 2013, where it then went on indefinite hiatus. It has since returned, but its release has been sporadic, as it has 28 manga volumes released thus far, as the series is still continuing even to this day. The abuse of manga authors extends beyond the pages of Weekly Shonen Jump. Yu Watase's experience reveals the horrors that the editorial teams put on authors, as we learn about the issues that mangaka face behind closed doors. Her blog post about creating Arata the Legend described systematic psychological abuse from her editor, who would tear up completed pages and demand total rewrites while calling her work crap and stupid. The editor claimed that her art would lower the standards of the magazine if it was published, and that meetings with her were a pain. Watase worked through headaches and exhaustion, staying up all night to meet deadlines, only to have her editor bulldoze her ideas to make room for his own. When she tried to assert creative control over her manga, he retaliated by rejecting her layouts and making her miss deadlines. She states, "I was no longer doing it for the sake of the readers, or even for the sake of the manga as a body of work. I was just solely drawing storyboards and layouts to get his approval." An author who worked for another big publisher called Clamp had suffered a lumbar compression fracture in 2011 from spending too many hours hunched over her desk drawing. This was an acute spinal injury caused by working posture. There was then an anonymous mangaka who made a 2022 Twitter thread exposing the workplace harassment that they had experienced, as they state that this would trigger lawsuits in any other industry or country. The editors called this mangaka's art crap, and they labeled him as a low-level artist while refusing to pay manuscript fees despite his work being published within the magazine. The creator noted, "You wouldn't want to work at a place that doesn't offer an hourly rate or salary, would you?" All of these cases share some common elements: creative dreams being exploited for financial gain, systematic psychological manipulation, and physical injury, which is treated as an acceptable price to pay for creating manga. Now, this level of abuse isn't reserved exclusively for those who are successful manga creators. This is simply the entry fee for anyone who is hoping to work in the Japanese manga industry. Let's break down the infamous work schedule of Shibashi Horishi's weekly schedule as a serialized manga artist. So here we can see that he sleeps just 3 to 4 hours per night, with the rest of his time consumed by drawing, inking, creating rough thumbnails or nemu, and handling meetings with editors. Assistants do help him during specific hours, but even then, Hiroshi continues working late into the night most nights, including weekends, and his only free time amounts to a mere 3 hours on Saturday. This schedule essentially is a non-stop cycle of drawing, sleeping, and brief meals, and this is a perfect example of the relentless grind that many mangaka endure to meet these weekly magazine deadlines, and it comes at the cost of their physical and mental health. In order to understand why nothing changes within the manga industry, we need to examine the economic and legal structures which make this abuse not just possible but profitable. So 98% of all manga authors are classified as self-employed contractors rather than employees working for a magazine. So this clear distinction eliminates the authors from virtually every worker protection which applies to regular employees. They have no mandatory health insurance, no overtime regulations, no workplace safety standards, and no paid sick leave. Mangaka exist in a legal grey zone where standard labor protections don't apply. The economic trap runs deeper, as successful creators must pay assistants out of their own pocket, and this is typically 180,000 yen per month per assistant. Multiple assistants for very successful series mean monthly overheads of 500,000 yen or more. This creates perverse incentives. Taking health breaks means losing income, while assistant costs continue, while working through illness maintains cash flow. This creates some really negative incentives, like if they take some health breaks, then it means that they lose income because they still need assistance. So usually most manga authors work through their illnesses in order to maintain a positive cash flow. The author of Gintama revealed that film adaptations of his work pay peanuts compared to volume sales, with not a single yen from box office gross reaching the author, despite massive profits for the production companies. Manga authors earn primarily from volume royalties, making them dependent on maintaining serialization regardless of the personal toll that it takes on them. The passion tax concept explains why this abuse continues unchallenged. A 2019 study did find that people consider it more acceptable to exploit workers in passionate industries with unpaid labor and demeaning conditions. Society expects artists to suffer for their craft, making creator abuse seem romantic rather than criminal or unjust. Jump's editorial department definitely takes advantage of this philosophy, as the former editor-in-chief of Shonen Jump when One Piece, Bleach and Naruto was being serialized, Kazuhiko Toriyama, had openly stated that editors do not need to be liked and they are not friends with the manga artists. He advocated for honest feedback with the authors, even if it is difficult to say. As we've discussed in this video, this clearly gives free rein to editors to hurl any and all abuse at authors. In November 2024, a few reforms were revealed by Weekly Shonen Jump. They announced proudly that the minimum manuscript payments for their manga was raising to 20,900 yen per black and white page every author creates. This is roughly $135 per page, and they were marketing these changes as better working environments. So a 20-page weekly chapter now earns the author 418,000 yen, or roughly $2,750. Multiply this by 52 weeks and you roughly get $143,000 a year. This is before taxes, assistant costs, equipment and medical expenses from work-related injuries, because the authors have to cover all of these costs because they are self-employed. In the city of Tokyo, where most mangaka work, this barely covers basic living expenses for a single person, let alone supporting the team of assistants that work for them, which are necessary for the weekly serialization of the manga. So while Weekly Shonen Jump claim that they are addressing the working conditions of mangaka, they have provided a measly 12% pay increase to their authors. This is pennies in comparison to the billions that companies like Shueisha, who own Weekly Shonen Jump, generate from the labor of their creators. Hopefully this video has helped you to better understand the systematic abuse of manga authors, which Shonen Jump has been carrying out for decades. If there's anything that I've forgotten to mention, then let me know by continuing the discussion in the comments. And lastly, thank you for making it to the end of this one, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video.
A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.